Well, when you look at this kid Baxter bend at the waist on contact inside, I mean, he's good in those tight spaces too. I mean, he may be an upright runner. He gets upright when you're trying to catch up to him. You know?
Yeah.
He doesn't get through. He's got really nice waist spin. And when he hits you, you know, it's not like Roshan when he sticks that leg into your chest or into your helmet or the side of your helmet or your shoulder pads. This kid kind of slides off of it, kind of feels that hit.
I like the way
waist.
Jerry Hamilton put it last hour. He's tall at 6'1" and long-legged, but he gets skinny in the hole when he needs to.
Yeah,
He's got
does.
the quick feet and then the ability. The film shows it. I mean, he can get through those tight spaces, and then, man, when he breaks clear,
Yes.
see you later. Those long strides, he starts running away from people pretty quickly. So, and you know, it's interesting. When Steve Sarkisian got the job at Texas a year and a half ago now, it was pretty obvious that he made Arch Manning a huge priority, right? He made Arch Manning, knowing that he had already built a great relationship with Arch and the Manning family while at Alabama, along with A.J. Milwee, who was coming with him. And they really believed they had a chance and had a look at it. And, you know, obviously Texas announcing their move to the SEC helped with that, because if Texas is still planning to be in the Big 12, I don't think there's any chance they get Arch Manning. But Arch, you know, Texas could sell him that, hey, we're going to be in the SEC. You're going to play SEC football against the SEC. Which, you know, I think was a part of that. But point being that Sark believed that they had a real chance and made it the focus of their 2023 recruiting class. And the same thing can be said true of Tashard Choice. The hiring of Tashard Choice this offseason. Remember, Tashard was at Georgia Tech, former Cowboys running back, by the way, former player in the NFL, and had begun to recruit Cedric Baxter when he was at Georgia Tech. And they had built a great relationship. And remember, he took the USC job first.
Right.
Tashard Choice went to work for Lincoln Riley for like a week. And then Texas lost Stan Drayton to Temple to be the head coach. And Coach Sark called him and, you want to come to Texas? He said, yeah, I'll come to Texas. And he left USC like that. And here he is. And he told Coach Sark, he says, I got to. And they put Cedric Baxter Jr. at the top of the board at running back. He was their number one running back on their recruiting board. And that's because Tashard Choice sold him on the fact that, hey, we got to look at this kid. I've got a great relationship with him, and let's not give up on that. And then when Arch Manning committed 6 weeks ago, that really pushed it over the top. That Cedric Benson. So I'm going to do that a lot with that young guy when he starts getting here on campus. Cedric Baxter became a realistic possibility, and his exact quote to Jerry Hamilton and the guys at Inside Texas was, "No, he was the reason. He's the coach I wanted to play for." And
his young offensive line is going to be the kind of line you want to be behind, too.
Yeah, well, that's what you sell on the trail. That just brought in 7 offensive linemen, 5 more already committed for next class and this cycle. And he's a big-time player, and I know you like his film. That's one of those that didn't take many highlight reels to watch. I also, you know, when we talked to Jerry last hour, it is interesting because I think, you know, if you cover recruiting closely, you know this, and I think most fans would not really understand that just how different the high school football is in the state of Florida as it is in the state of Texas. And when I say that, I mean the state churns out talent, right? But in the state of Florida, they don't have a dedicated period to athletics. They don't invest in the facilities like they do at the public schools here in Texas, right? They don't invest in the coaching staffs. How about him saying that most of the assistant coaches on a high school staff in Florida they just get a stipend, and a lot of them aren't even full-time teachers. They just coach football. Obviously, we know Texas and the Texas High School Coaches Association and what it is. I mean, it is Friday Night Lights. It's a passion, and you know, Texas. You know, every public school has a period dedicated to athletics, so you can work on football 5 days a week during the school year, and then go to practice before or after.
Well, that's why he brings up schools like St. Thomas Aquinas and the Academy now.
IMG.
That's private, can pay coaches and get incredible types of players to come there.
Well, and his point was the
IMG develops them in every sport, tennis, you name it.
Yeah, that thing is a developing machine for athletics in the state of Florida, outside of Orlando. But so the players from Florida are more raw. Mm-hmm. They're not as polished as kids from Texas. They don't get the coaching. They don't get the every day, and of course, they don't play in those kind of facilities like you do here at the high levels of high school football in the state. It is an interesting, conversation. But Texas now has 2 kids from Orlando, the big offensive lineman Peyton Kirkland and now Cedric Baxter Jr., who both will be early enrollees Both
which
will
would
be here in January.
That'd be fantastic for him.
Both and Arch Manning will be here in January as early enrollee, as will the tight end Will Randall, who he throws to at Isidore Newman. So a good chunk of that class that's already put together is planning to be here as an early enrollee in the early part of 2023.
Yeah, and some would say in the state of Florida, but well, some of your kids are already so developed by the time they get to college, they're all burnt out. They've had enough of.
That's been a much debated topic.
Yes.
In high school recruiting is
they've been in this heat. They've been in
or that's the top. That's their top, right? That
is. You got them where you got them right there.
That they peaked at some level that some would say, and the ability to be coached that much. But again, not all of them. But with Florida players, sometimes you be patient with them. But man. I thought Jerry's example of Calvin Ridley was a good one. Think about that Calvin Ridley coming out of his senior year of high school in Florida.
19, weighed about 159.
It's like 158 pounds. We know he got to Alabama, put on weight, and became Calvin Ridley. And had gained 30 pounds while he was playing at Alabama. So the weight room facilities, the training facilities, all of that not the same at the public school level in the Sunshine State as it is in the Lone Star State. But I will say this, Cedric Baxter is now the highest rated player ever from the state of Florida to commit to Texas.
For sure.
That's a big number. And you've recruited great running backs before, and you can see them on film pretty quickly.
Get them while you can get them. They should be coming to Texas every year.
Jerry gave us
and
a name.
Some right out of this state.
And it's their strongest position right now. But we do know at Texas that Bijan Robinson is likely to enter the NFL draft after his junior year.
Yes.
And Roschon Johnson is making a beeline to Sundays and will be a Sunday player. So, you still look at the running back room, and you have Jaden Blue, the freshman this year, Jonathan Brooks. Now, Keelan Robinson is a guy who could be a guy that comes back next year. But, now you add the name, two names. They got Trey Wisner, the running back from DeSoto in this class, and now you add Cedric Baxter, which is a big one. Big get for Texas. Last night. I like how he put on the cowboy hat, too. I thought that was pretty cool. Threw on the cowboy hat. Change of direction.
I'm not quite the drama guy.
Yeah,
but that's what they do.
Kids today. But you like them. Now, is it upright running style? Any of that concern you? Or
no.
No,
that's more way his breakaway. Like, here you go. I think you think you're even with me. Not really. You're not. But when you see him in the hole, he's got that nice lean to him, and he's not just sticking. I mean, he's got his hands up. He's got his stiff arm out. He's ready to go. He'll be a stud now.
Well, if he comes in, as Jerry says, and adds 10 or 15 pounds.
Oh, my goodness, which he will.
Be 225, 230
Yep.
At 6'1". And if you're Tashard Choice, you're going to try to get him probably a little bit lower to the ground, right? Keep that body lean, but really, create that low center. And, man.
Depending on how these dudes block. Some of these guys, you may have some maulers that you can get up in the hole upright.
Yeah.
If you have to.
Well, that was my immediate thought was, man, he kind of looks like put 30 more pounds on him or 20 more pounds on him, and he's Najee Harris, who played for Steve Sarkisian at Alabama, kind of the same looking type of running back, bigger back,
faster,
and maybe faster than Najee Harris, yeah. But remember, Najee Harris came out of the state of California, and he was a really great high school player as well, and went and played for Steve Sarkisian with the Crimson Tide. I also saw a comp from somebody saying kind of like Le'Veon Bell, with the way he sticks patient in the hole and can catch out of the backfield so well, and then the burst there to accelerate. But remember, when Le'Veon Bell was at Michigan State, he was a big, thick back. I mean, he was a 200. And
he was always a patient runner.
And when he played for Mark D'Antonio, who wanted to pound the rock, and so he was a big, physical 235, 240-pound back. He got to the NFL and slimmed down.
Yep.
And became an all-pro in Le'Veon Bell.
And great out of the backfield.
All right, so Texas recruiting, a lot of momentum. Speaking of high schools and recruiting, we'll have our Flex 30 update coming. We'll take your buck.